Hello, hello. How is everyone doing
How
today? Oh
Hello.
my
doing
goodness. We see you
great.
all. Welcome,
Welcome, welcome.
welcome. Oh my goodness. Okay. I know Fortnite is down. Oh my goodness. I know that just Oh, I've got something on. Oh no. I'm duplicating sound somewhere. I'm so sorry, everyone. I also don't know where it's coming from. So we're going to take a moment and figure that out.
We need the
Uh
guy in the
All
van.
right.
Yeah, guy in the van, can you hear us being duplicated?
Hello.
Because I don't have anything open. Oh, no. I'm going
Audio's clear.
to pass to you, Zoe, really quick so I can figure out what's
Yeah,
going on with my tech. Sorry
I was
about
going to
that.
say, no worries. I will go ahead and take it over really quick. Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome. Super excited to have you joining us today. See some familiar names and faces in the comments. So happy to see you. For those that might not know me, I'm new to this, but I'm true to this. My name is Zoe Schneider, and I'm a marketing manager over on the Fortnite team, obviously. And I'm super fortunate to work very often with creators within the community who are both within the Fortnite Creative Toolset and in UEFN. So I haven't had a chance to work with you yet. Hopefully, we find an opportunity to do so. But in the meantime, I'm super excited to be here with Shane today to talk to you about our July updates, some of the hottest things coming into Creative and UEFN right now, some other updates. We've got some also really exciting things that I'm personally super hyped to show off. Shane and I popped in and we're testing a bunch of maps together that we're going to be talking about today, yesterday, and over the last few weeks. And so really just hyped to have this opportunity to connect with the community and get you all of the latest and greatest information as it relates to Fortnite. So that's a little bit about me, a little bit about what we're doing today. The Master Shane is going to give us the full overview. But in the meantime, we do have some incredible guests with us today. Oh, Shane, are you back?
I am back. Oh my goodness. That's what I get for being
Love
so
it.
overly prepared. I just had everything open. How are you all doing? We're so excited. Zoe's here today. I didn't even get to give Zoe a proper introduction, which breaks my heart. But yes, so today we have the wonderful, the amazing, the fantastic Zoe Schneider here. She's our marketing manager for Fortnite. Create everything that you get to see on our channel. Zoe has had some touch in. She's fantastic, and we're so excited to have her here to join me for hosting today. And we're also so excited to have the team here. As thank you for giving the rough overview, Zoe. I appreciate it. The team's really excited to show the Verse Stronghold template today and answer any and all of the questions that you have about it. And we're going to do some fun walkthrough, playthrough, go into detail about everything going on there. But first, we would love to kick it off and have a bit of a community celebration, right, Zoe? And this is going to be the first time we're doing this. So bear with us. We're really excited. We're hoping everything goes smoothly. But as you know, it's live. You never know what's going to happen. But with all that said, I'm going to throw it down to John to do a little introduction since we're all here before we get into that. And then, yeah, we'll be featuring them as well. So, John, tell us about yourself. We're so excited to have you.
Yeah, this is fantastic to be here. I love Zoe's intro. New to this, but true to this. I'm going to take that for sure. Uh, yeah, so I'm John Diaz. I'm a senior technical designer on the UEFN team. We're super excited to launch this to the world at GDC. I've only been at Epic about a year and a half, but it's been all on this. And this is one of the latest and greatest pieces of content that we've been working hard on since I think early this year, late last year, and excited that it's out there. We got it out there in the summer, and really looking forward to going behind the scenes on everything that went into it. Great to be here.
Heck yes. And Charles, tell us a little bit about yourself. We're so excited to have you today.
Hello. Yeah, happy to be here. So my name is Charles Lefebvre. I'm a senior AI programmer. I'm working on Fortnite, but mostly on UFN and now in creative and bringing AI to creative and to UFN. So I've been at Epic for almost 2 years now, but in the game industry for a while. I'm French. You can hear that, obviously.
Fantastic.
I forgot to
Thank
mention, Seattle. I'm all the way on the West Coast time. And I think, Charles, you're in Montreal.
Yes.
Very nice. I miss Seattle, John. I'm jealous. I'm
Are you
missing the
saying that
nice
from
stuff.
California?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know about being
like I had
jealous
to move
when you're in
back.
California.
Oh, the rain was a lot, but it's still so beautiful there. And finally, we have Shen. Go ahead, tell us a little about yourself. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, hello. Nice to see you guys, and it's great that we can show in this stage for the first time. And I'm Chen He. I was working in Epic Games 4 years ago, but I was starting my career in the industry for more than 15 years. So there are a lot of interesting stories there. And what I'm focusing on is to help to bring the AI devices, workflow, and the tools and other things to help the Fortnite ecosystem goes better, like the creative devices or the UEFI workflow. And it's great that John is in the United States, Charles is in Montreal, and I am in China. I'm in Shanghai, and we are three different people in three different regions, and we collaborate together to build this stronghold template. And I am very excited to share the stories and behind the scenes to tell the creators how we can make better sense out of it.
Thank you so much, Shen. That's a great point that we're all collaborating from so far away to make these things happen. And I'm really proud of the team. And I'm really thankful to have such a diverse team from all different areas. This is definitely the most time zone balancing one we've had so far. So thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Awesome. Well, before we get into the Stronghold template, we're going to kick it off with Islands of the Week. Zoe's going to give us a little bit of a rundown and celebration about those that we've had for the past couple of weeks, and it's something that she's worked really hard on. So take it away, Zoe.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited to talk about Islands of the Week because, as you know, we've been highlighting different islands that have been developed within UEFN. And it's just an awesome opportunity to celebrate the community. My background before I was in marketing, I was actually a community manager. So I am always, always, always down to shine the spotlight on the people who make our gaming platform so exciting. So you may have seen the videos, you may not have. If you missed it by any chance, we're going to go ahead and play it right now. So I'll have our man in the van holding it down with the tech behind the scenes. If you want to go ahead and play our first video, this dropped on the 7th of July and features, let's watch the video first and then I'll tell you all about the good stuff within it. Go ahead and roll it.
I love that. It looks fantastic. I don't know if anyone can hear us.
Still baffled that people can make chess.
Like what?
Oh, we're here. Fantastic. Oh, yes. It's all about that disco car. Awesome.
So good. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, is there typically audio with those, or was
everybody not able to hear that? I thought that we maybe just couldn't have heard that one.
Oh, maybe we couldn't hear it. That's, we're trying all new things today. As long as everyone else can hear it, we heard it. Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry for giving away.
All right. Chat says yes.
Okay. Thank you, chat.
Perfect.
We appreciate it. Okay, cool. Sick. All right. I did not mean to distract. Go ahead, Zoe.
No worries. But you may have seen some maps from some familiar faces in there. Super exciting to see us be able to celebrate the community, and not only celebrate the community, but celebrate the diversity that exists within what creators are making. I think that's one of my favorite things about seeing this. Yeah, exactly. Somebody said it in chat. It's really motivated. It's cool being highlighted in stream with devs who are from Fortnite and from across the world. And in addition to that, it's also an opportunity to point to, I don't know, for me, it's aspirational content of like, man, maybe I didn't think about making something like that in Fortnite, but somebody else is doing it. What inspiration can I draw from my peers? I feel like, having worked in community for a long time, I find that the people who are around you are your greatest source of inspiration. So for us to be able to promote and highlight different creators who are doing just amazing, innovative things out in the community is an awesome chance to celebrate that. So congratulations to the folks who actually had a chance to be featured in that video. really incredible. And like I said, diverse maps from everything from chess to prop hunts. And then we have one more video that I really want to show. This was one of my favorites that I was very partial to. Not that I don't love all of them, but if you want to play the other video that we have that features the summer prop house hunt, the Project Combat, and Splashdown Lucky Block water park, if you can go ahead and share that video as well, we'll watch one more, and then I'll talk a little bit about those maps and why I think that video is an exceptionally special week. Incredible. Thank you so much for playing that. Right? Okay, first of all, the shot of him spinning in the chair cracked me up since we started making that video. When they were like, oh, let's review the video, I was like, I don't care about the rest of it. I just want to make sure that, I mean, I care about the rest of it, but I really want to make sure that shot is in it because it had me dying just seeing the juxtaposition of everything going on and him just straight chilling in that chair. But one of the reasons why I love that video and the maps within it is because those are features from our Summer Showdown call out that we just hosted for the 14 days of summer. Now, I, on the marketing side of things, am very close to the call outs, which is amazing because we get an opportunity to see creations from creators who've been in the game for a while and up and coming creators who are maybe new, maybe it's their first time applying, maybe even their first time getting accepted. And that is definitely something we're celebrating, as you're all very well aware. But those 3 maps were highlighted from our call out row. As you all know, call outs are sort of a chance for us to try new, unique things, encourage folks to develop with new tools and devices, which I think sort of connects to the things we're talking about today, like the Stronghold template, and really starting to help people think about the extent of everything they're going to be able to do. You know, I don't know about the devs we have on the call with us today, but in my career in game development, the most satisfying thing that I see on a consistent basis is when we create a tool, we deliver it to the community, and then they go and do things with it that we never even imagined or in ways that we didn't do ourselves. I just think that like seeing how people run with that creative energy and take things that maybe we had an intention for it to be used in this way or that way, but they say, actually, scratch that. I have an even better idea that you didn't even consider yet. Mm-hmm. That is just such an enriching moment. And it's so rewarding as a developer to just see people explode once we give them the tools so they can like be successful. So first of all, appreciate everybody who applied to that call out. It was one of our most popular call outs in terms of submissions, and it was awesome to see. And a massive, massive, massive amount of folks were creating in UEFN, which is equally as incredible to see how
you pointed out. It's all about looking at what's around you, being inspired by those around you, the content that you're seeing, the things that you love that bring you passion and joy, baking that into the creations that you make. And a really, really great talk on how to take something and then build it into something even better, or to experiment with it, is the one we had with Immature Gamer. If you check out our last on the YouTube, there is a VOD for it, so you can check out Immature there, and the cool talk that he did on how to best do that. So a lot of insightful information there. We had just recently uploaded it, so if you missed it, you didn't get to check it out, it is now there. So take a look. And with that, thank you so much for the Islands of the Week, Zoe. It's super exciting to see it all come together and to see a lot of some awesome call outs on there. Another thing that we wanted to take time for today was to give an announcement about Epic's Picks. So
yes!
As you know, today we did it, Zoe. We finally got it.
So excited. Yes.
So we worked really hard to get this out. And first of all, we're going to cover the Epic's Picks Islands that came out today on the row that we're really excited to talk about. And then we're going to dive into the ones that have not yet been announced for next week to celebrate together for those who will be featured next week. And then on top of that, we want to talk about newly featured creators, ones that haven't been as far as I could find out. So if anyone's on there that has been and somehow it just got lost in translation over the years, definitely let me know. But from what we could see, these are the new ones that are up and coming creators that we want to talk about how fantastic they are. So kicking it off first, I'm going to go ahead and jump in, and Dan, feel free and share my screen for me, Magic Van Man. and we can talk about it. All right. So kicking it off with Pipe Wars, and Zoe and I get to play quite a few of these islands in the past day or so. There's some that were harder for us just because it was the two of us, but we did, did our best to check each
We
one
did our
out
best.
so we can celebrate. So for Pipe Wars, this one in particular, just want to call out the landscape, the style that was gone for here, where you can kind of go around the map and it's rotated, you jump onto next platforms. Super super cool, super original. We're seeing a lot of those what are they called, Zoe? The death run, the vertical death run islands and things like that too. This one is vertical mass is a new take on that Sideways, and it was super super cool. So if you haven't checked that one out yet, definitely fun. And I believe it had some of AI in there shooting at you as well, unless there was someone in my game. But I think when I joined, I did a private one, so I was kind of alone. but it was still challenging and still super fun. So congrats to FMRL for Pipe Wars. Definitely check that out. And then we have forgive me if I butcher any of your names. I'm not trying to. Klabito, Klabito, your Bomber Knight. I believe I tweeted at them too when I saw this because it was just so fantastic. Really cool new take on something we've seen before in the Fortnite universe. Zoe and I played this for a bit, and
oh my
realized
gosh, we had such a good time playing this, but I kept blowing myself up like every 15 seconds.
She did, and I could see it from afar, and it made that much more just as interesting as it would be with 20 players. I swear. But we eventually made it to each other, and then she killed me. It was a great time. And then so congrats to Glito, and then Gravity Swap Gun Game by Kodesh. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This one is all about your world turning on you and the gravity changing while you are trying to defeat others in gun game and get your points. It is absolutely mind-blowing, and thank you so much for the disclaimer. Just as a heads up, you might get a little sick on this one depending on if you're good with visual stuff, but which is they disclaim at the beginning. But if you're cool with that, super super fun, always changing, really interesting gameplay. So congrats on that. And then we've got by Alliance Prop Hunt Zoo. Zoe, I got to show Zoe her first prop hunt the other day. And this one is super cute. And
how much more embarrassing is it that that's not? Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, how much more embarrassing is it that it's not my first prop hunt? I'm just that bad at them. I'm so bad at this, but it's so fun. No. It's so cute to play.
No. Well, you know what? Then that's my bad. I know you're just taking it easy on me, Zoe. I know.
Exactly.
I'd love to hear from chat when it comes to prop hunts, the kind of things that you really enjoy. For me, when I was going through this one, what I really loved about it was just the amount you could play with. Another great call out, I believe, Dolphin Doms and Wirt's map that is a prop hunt in a mansion, like a haunted mansion. That one has so many fun things to change into. So really, really admire that Alliance with this one had all of these different animals, all different sizes, and really fun things that you could turn into. So definitely a fun time. Space Wars we got with Velasco. Space Wars is definitely a new take on the free for all. There's a lot going on. It's very beautiful. The aesthetics and the landscaping and stuff, check it out. Super inspiring, and it's kind of fun that you can also just kind of, if you're able to and not get destroyed, drift through the asteroids in the solar system, which was fantastic. So congrats, Velasco, for your feature there. And then we've got Aquatic Apartment, which I personally enjoyed as a soon-to-be shrimp farmer. That the Aquatic Apartment was just it hit so close to home. You know, now I just lie awake at night with my new aquarium wondering if they're going to jump out and die on me. And then it's a new fear I never knew existed. So thank you for this one to Sunuki. And super fun time. Don't blow up your aquarium, guys. Don't do it. Congrats on your feature. Now, for the ones that we have not yet announced, I wish I had a drum roll. I don't. I wish I just had some smooth jazz. But we're just gonna jump into it for the ones for next week. So let's check it out. So our first one we're gonna have for next week in Epic's Picks, bearing that there are no bugs, there are no issues, no moderation things pop up, the world doesn't end, Fortnite isn't down, anything like that. These will be the. I have to give the disclaimer, so I appreciate your patience. This is going to be one of our first ones for next week. So it's a Dirty Town gun game by, I believe Stacy told me she always pronounces it as Gurforanov, but we now know that it is Guranov. But but sometimes the 4 trips us up when we're looking into these. So congratulations, Guranov. Super excited to see this one in. Zoe and I played this one as well, and
Oh my
it was all
gosh, so
about
good.
the world, wasn't it, Zoe? All about the aesthetics that were put into it and the detail. Yeah, it was a super fun time. I think it's gonna be a
Super
great
solid
addition.
detail. It's dirty. It's a dirty map, and they mean it, and it really is. I mean, there's like
Yeah.
radioactive waste moments, and there's like all these different things, and it is, like you said, that attention to detail is like so refreshing, so that when you're in it, you truly feel immersed in the dirtiest town.
I love that quote. Thank you, Zoe. It was fantastic. And then number 2, we've got Azzy's Gun Game by AzzyFN. So this one I don't remember if I got to play this one, but yes. So in this gun game, you battle through 50 different weapons to claim victory in this simple 20-player gun game. But this one was chosen by the team for the unique changes that they had made to this playstyle and how exciting it was for them all to play. And also, it has to have excellent lighting, and and we want to call out that any of these also just fantastic use of everything that is available in Creative and UFN. So congrats, AzzyFN, to your feature. Then we have Tactical Panic Zone by Smurf. So this one was super fun. Brings you back to paintball days, right, Zoe? And definitely has different elements going on. So you have a bomb defusal. You also have to basically pick a side, run in, try and not die, also defuse the bomb. Super fun gun game iteration. So congrats, Smurf, to that. Then we've got Ips Ruin Duos Box Fight and Zone Wars. So this one has 2 elements. Starts out as a box fight,
So
goes
fun.
into Zone Wars. Super fun. Really smooth. Did a great job processing and creating all of this for the experience for the players. Yeah, and some call outs on here. Great for warming up. And yeah, you get to claim the Ruin Sword to take out enemy players faster, which I know Zoe would have done to me, but
I was busy looking around because it was so pretty. I was just hanging out there, and then I was like, "Oh right, I'm here to do stuff."
Yeah. No, you killed it. So congrats, Ibs. Congrats on your feature. And we have Ryan Was with Raise Your Tower Sky High Sniper. So in this one, you eliminate opponents to raise your tower and lower theirs, infiltrate enemy towers to flip the reset switch and send them plummeting down, reach a slipstream with a tall enough tower to claim victory in this thrilling high stakes showdown. I'm really excited to check this out when it's featured, to play it with a lot of people and see how it goes, because that's definitely feels like a real butt clencher, Yeah, the tower one does look super cool. And we're hoping for next time in the future we want to have videos to go along with the next weeks when we announce it. So we'll have that hopefully running next time. But for now, hopefully the thumbnails and info is helpful enough. And then thank you so much for Stacy for putting the links in chat. We really appreciate it. And then finally, we have Peely's Lucky Box by CMSG. This one is my personal favorite, only because I'm obsessed with miniature things. So if I am miniature, those are one of my favorite things. And Zoe and I were playing through this one just absolutely immersed. Every asset that's in here, super. It makes you really feel like you're in there. This is real. This is happening. It feels like just another extension of the game and of the community, and it's wonderful. I think what was our favorite detail, Zoe? There's instead of torches, there's tiny little matches.
Yes, there's
that are in there.
tiny little matches that are like torches, and the pencil sharpener that you can like climb up and over. I thought that was just so cool. Even the textures that they managed to pack into that map is just so satisfying because you truly, like you said, you feel immersed into it. And I found myself at moments just like, again, this was one of those maps that by the end of it, I was just running around and enjoying all the little minuscule details that they took the extra time consideration to include in the maps. It was so fun. This was one of my faves that we were able to play through.
Super cool. And there's also little boxes laying around the map too that you can, cardboard boxes you can jump in and hide.
Gosh,
So we were being really sneaky. Still fun to play with only 2 people, can't admit. It was a blast. But congrats CMSG for your featuring and all of our wonderful other Epics picks for this week and next week. Remember, if you want to submit for Epics picks, go in your creator portal. There's a support option. You go there, and then there is a submit for a featuring section. Make sure you select Epics picks and put your info and tips and tricks. There's 2 awesome articles that are on creator portal. One is about the do's for featuring, and one is the don'ts. Check those out if you haven't. Even if you feel like you know everything, check it out just to double check, because you never know, there could be something that was that's new that you haven't seen before, or something you hadn't realized. So check those out and submit for featuring. We love seeing it. We've got tons of people submitting these days, and that's super exciting to see. We have a lot of great activity happening, and we're so proud of everything that y'all are doing in the community, all of the creative ways that you're diving into UEFN, all the ways you're continuing to use the features on creative and the new features coming out. So congrats to everyone here. And for those of you who are, still working towards a featuring, we believe in you. You're going to do awesome. Your time will come. Keep it up. Just keep an eye out for what's going on, for trends, things like that. And go for your passions. I think that's some solid advice for incorporating into your creations, because that's what makes them unique. Cool. So with that, we'll stop screen sharing. Thanks so much, Magic Van Man. And we're going to move into, I do want to also just say the disclaimer again. Those islands, something could happen. There could be a bug or something might happen and they might not show up. And that could be moderation, something pops up, anything changes between here and now. We always definitely work to make sure we can get them up there. But if you don't happen to see one next week, something might have popped up. But regardless, they are all slated for Epics Picks. So congrats, everybody. Now, moving on to our last shout out of the day, which is up and coming creators. So we had quite a few that I've seen as of late. Just wanted to give them a shout out. Also give them a shout out on Discord. I want to say congrats to, and forgive me if I pronounce anything incorrectly, just going based on what I can see. Vishay Sharma was one of our featured new creators. So congrats, Vishay. Orange Guy, congratulations. Cabicio, code D3V, Julianos or Julianos, just checking at FMRL Island. We've got Velasco. And Velasco. Velasco's our most recent. So congrats to all those creators who were newly featured for the first time. That's fantastic. And we're excited to shout out new people next time as well. And with that, I'm going to dive us into our June updates. We don't have a whole lot, so we're getting close to jumping into the Stronghold presentation that our wonderful devs have ready for us. But with that, I'm going to jump into, feel free and share my screen. If you would, lovely Dan, I appreciate you. We'll jump back into it. Cool. Thank you so much.
I want to call him Van Dan.
Van Dan.
I love it. That's it. That's the one.
Van Dan. That is the one. Nailed it. So this happened quite a bit ago, but we just wanted to call it out on stream. We had an update to our engagement payout system. If you have any feedback or thoughts on this, please make sure and share with us on the forums, share with us on the Discord. We just want to hear how it's going for those of you who have experienced the engagement payout as of late with the new updates. Keep us up to date. We're there to share your feedback and make sure it gets to the right place. And we know a lot changed, and we're hoping all is going well, but we are always super interested in hearing your feedback so we can iterate and make the process and experience best it can be for our creators. And then for another small update, I don't have a screen for this one, but as you know, we had a thumbnail policy update for Discover. So there are new things that are no longer permitted. So we got arrows, platform-specific buttons, weapons within squares, reference to currency, like V-Bucks, and sales tag style names. So if you are seeing those things, please feel free to report. We know there's concern about going into these islands and reporting for fear of, something having to do with showing numbers for that island or engagement. Just know that if you go in there and report real quick and pop out, that shouldn't have any sort of effect. You should feel totally fine to do that. We want to make sure that we are, keeping on top of those things, and we really appreciate when you catch them. We've got a team of humans on it, and sometimes things get by. Please report. You can also, if you don't feel comfortable reporting in game, you can report via our support site. So your typical report / support help ticket, just put in the front of it reporting an island as the title, and we will jump on that. And that's enough for me. I've been talking forever. I'm going to throw it to the wonderful Zoe to talk about, to give us an introduction to our newest template that we have live for you to utilize. Go ahead, Zoe.
Yeah, absolutely. So the one thing I do want to mention again in terms of updates, Shane already alluded to it, but definitely check out the mistakes to avoid when submitting for featuring. That is really important to just make sure your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed. That's always really helpful. I've seen a couple of people asking about featuring, and just making sure that everything you're submitting is accurate and abiding by rules and along the guidelines that we've provided is a really efficient way to make sure that we have all the information we need to support any featuring requests. So that's the only July update from my side. And now, like you said, let's talk about templates. It's why we're here. We're here to create. I'm actually going to keep this short because we have the experts here with us on stream, and I'd love for them to talk about the work that they've been doing and give some context to how they got into creating this. And like we were saying, across different time zones, using their shared expertise to develop something that's useful. But as I think many of you, if not all of you on this know, but if you don't, maybe you're new to this live stream and new to creating, templates are a really profound way to learn, to demonstrate how a game works or learn specific mechanics that you need to have a handle on to develop certain kinds of content. So templates can be a super, super useful tool in learning how to do various things within Fortnite, learning how to do something within UEFN or Creative. One template that I definitely want to point to is Deserted Domination. It uses different devices that are really important for various types of gameplay. So for example, if you want to do a capture the flag or hardpoint map, of course you have the capture area device, and that's put on display in the template. But not only does that, the way that the templates are set up is it can also inform you to make the best gameplay and level design decisions that you have available to you, right? So you get an excellent example of the tools in practice, and not only can you see it, enjoy it, interact with it in the template itself, but you can also utilize that template as a base for what you want to create yourself. So like I said, Deserted Domination is a great example of that. There's some other templates. Personally, I like some different templates, but we're here to talk about UEFN templates today. And so I am going to hand it off to our incredible devs that we have joining us to just tell us a little bit more about Stronghold, what they made, why they made it, and then of course get into the nitty gritty of how you can utilize it and leverage it to improve your own creations within Fortnite. So that's all for me. I'm going to pass it over to, let's see, John, you want to kick us off and tell us a little bit about the development of Stronghold and then dig a little bit more into the content of what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, absolutely, Zoe. Thanks so much for the background. And I just want to make sure if Van Dan can pull up my screen so everybody's seeing what I'm seeing. Should be the game running.
Heck yeah.
Servers
Magic
are back.
Van Dan.
We were able to get back in there. Yeah. So as you were saying, Zoe, some of these UEFN demos and templates are here. Deserted Domination is a fantastic example of the types of things you can build that look completely different from, vanilla Fortnite, Forest Guardian, Space Inside. And the latest offering is the one that we helped put together, and that's Stronghold. I want to just dive into it. I want to play it for people that haven't seen it. I was super surprised when we were kind of building this internally, right? This is supposed to be like an internal AI playground for us to test all the cool features we're developing that we hope for to put into your hands later, some unknown amount of time. Not going to commit to any deadlines. And at some point, while I was away, it was decided that, hey, this is pretty good to release as a standalone experience. And so anybody that doesn't have UEFN installed on their PC for whatever reason, you can totally, on anywhere you can play Fortnite, you can give this a whirl for yourself if you look for it in Discover or Epic Labs. And that's what I want to do today. I want to play it and get everybody on the same page, and then we'll talk about what all went into it.
So excited.
Is there audio
John,
coming
thanks so
through?
much. Yep.
Yes.
Just
Audio's
a
coming
little.
through. We can hear it. I do want to, you said something really interesting that I think is worth pointing out to folks that maybe aren't as familiar with templates just as a concept, but you can play the template and you can also use it as a base of your creation, correct?
Yeah, totally. And for this one in particular, this is a release as a standalone experience, right? Just like any other creative island map that you can play without having to break apart in creative. And then on the UEFN side, you can open it up and get into the code and make any modifications for yourself.
John, I
Right,
think
in
that
the
Fortnite
chat-
is
this
down.
Oh, sorry.
I think that Fortnite is down.
Again, that's why the
Yeah,
matchmaking is
I
taking
see
so long.
matchmaking major outage.
Oh no. That's true.
Okay.
We didn't anticipate this. We never do.
We never do. Okay, yeah, here we go.
Giraffes.
Sorry. Okay, that's okay. I'm gonna switch over. If Van Dan could bring you guys back up, I'm gonna switch over to the editor then.
Let's go, Van Dan. Thank you so
Might be the
much.
same. You can give it a try.
I'm
See
so
if I get
proud of
lucky.
us all for rolling with these technical punches. Truly.
Uh,
And also
we
thank
can
you,
do.
audience, for your patience.
We should have recorded a video.
Always have the
It's a
backup
great
video.
note for next time. Yeah.
It's a well-known developer trick at like trade shows and E3s and things like this, that there's a
Oh.
backup video feed. If the person playing the game on controller, if anything goes wrong, they quickly hit the video feed, and it's like lined up to the second.
That's good to know, and I'll make note of it for next time too. While we're hanging out and you're getting set up, John, does anyone? I see the love for chat in there about Stronghold, about templates. Does anyone have any questions for the team about templates, about Stronghold in particular? We might be able to answer them while we're getting that set up. Salutations, King Keo. How are you? Hi, everybody. We can chat and say hi. Everyone, say hi to Zoe. She's the newest host, and we're just so honored to have her. We gotta mix it up sometimes, so y'all don't think it's just me and Josh and Heather that are working on live streams. We got a whole team.
Van Dan,
and then people behind the scenes too, right?
That's right, Van Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, sweet. We're all good. All right, let's jump in.
I'm curious in the chat how many people have UEFN installed or have worked in it or have seen it.
Yeah. How many people have checked it out yet? I definitely took kind of a temperature test, John, on Twitter to check it out. And there are people who are like, "Oh, I don't know, I'm nervous. Like I haven't dived into UFN, or I haven't gone into this yet because I'm not sure." So hopefully this will bring some insight into how you can utilize it and how easy it is to kind of jump in. So we got a lot of people in it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to show it. It's one of those things you could easily download right from the marketplace on Epic Games Launcher. If you got Fortnite, if you could run Fortnite, you should be able to run the editor. And then, so as Zoe was saying, it's a template. So right from the project screen, when you come up here, you go to new open project, you're going to get your project browser, and then it is under... And look, you can totally open Deserted and mod it for your own purposes and Evil Genius. But for the Stronghold, it's under feature examples. And so you would just go in here, hit create, and then it'll make your own version of the Stronghold. And if the servers were up, you would just come in here, launch a session. It'll open up Fortnite and you can play it. One of the coolest things about the editor that we ran into ourselves when we were kind of building this out was like Chen and Charles were an editor writing code and like flying around and adding things. And then myself and another designer, Gael, were in Fortnite on the creative side, like doing like the micro editing, like running around, positioning things while like Chen and Charles were doing like the macro editing, right? So it was like four of us doing like international cross time zone development. It was pretty crazy and fun, like super fun, I gotta admit. So I'm just gonna fly around the experience real quick to give people an overview that then Charles and Chan are gonna go dive deep into the details, in particular the verse code that ties all of the logic here together. And then Chan's gonna go in and talk about some of the more AI device facing debugging features that have come online since then. Really, it's unfortunate I couldn't show it to you live, right? So you can see it. Seeing it is better than kind of me talking it over. But we dropped some player spawns over here and this side of the island. And this is a super popular design where, name any open world game that you play and you have this huge environment. And then there's always some super interesting, heavily fortified structure that's just calling your attention that either has a princess inside, some epic weapons, or some objective, right? To like come check it out. And so that was a big inspiration for us in terms of like, all right, where do we start showing the devs and creators some of the core foundational AI behaviors that we want to set up, right? So here you can see these yellow and different colored splines around. These are put using the patrol path device, right? So how classic is it that you can set your guards to walk a particular patrol, right? Where us on the design side, what we do is we kind of tune these perfectly to create these little exact, precise openings for you to sneak in and take them out sequentially. Here you'll see some sniper towers where we spawn some snipers. And let's see if I have my top-down view, right? This is something that I really appreciate that I couldn't do in creative as easily. Let's see where we are, right? So if I'm gonna focus on this sniper, I can have him highlighted here. And then actually, let me see if I can do lit. Yeah, lit. Here we go. That's a little bit
Oh,
easier to see.
wow.
So using, I think it's middle mouse. Yeah, middle mouse. Okay, so middle mouse, you can see this little ruler, and I can start seeing his sight lines to be like, okay, how far do I want these snipers to see me, right? And so I know, like, if I drag out from here to over to the spawn points, I see that's about 80 meters or units. So I know that, my sight lines need to be, a little shorter than that, or push my player a little farther back so that he's free to kind of like assess the situation and not get caught. Um, so that's some of the design aspects. Some really fun part that we got a chance to dive into as we were kind of setting up patrols and showcasing how that we can lure or confine our NPCs to a scene. I don't have the verse debug draw here. Charles hopefully can show you the code, what it takes to leash the guards to fight from a certain area, right? Like we set them to, come defend the stronghold when things hit the fan and you've been detected and they need to, protect the inner stronghold. We're able to, through verse, when they detect the player and you've eliminated enough of them, they have this like fall back behavior, right? Fall back to the stronghold. And we're able to kind of send them here to this location. And I think we also, when we spawn reinforcements, we use the same mechanism to kind of bring them into here to, jump on the player. Then,
John, we have a
Mhm.
question in chat about how did you do the top-down view there?
Oh, absolutely. I may have just kind of flown right by that. One of these buttons up here control your different perspectives. And I think by default, it's usually, oh, I'm sorry, that's the one screen. Here we go. Okay. Okay. If I did that too fast. Okay. By default, normally, this right topmost icon kind of goes into like, X number of screens or highlight the main viewport. And I think over here on the left is where you can pick what camera you're viewing from. So by default, normally you're in perspective, and then you can see the ortho cameras are kind of more your 2D top, bottom, left, right, front, back views, right? So you can just change that out. And then, but I think another helpful thing is the ortho cameras, I think, default to wireframe, so you get kind of this view, and that may or may not be helpful when you're trying to kind of like look inside of buildings. So you can go to unlit mode and lit mode. Everybody follow that?
Super cool.
Yeah, everybody in
Cool.
chat see what's going on there.
Funny in chat.
We also had someone, Twin said Alt J. Is that a shortcut for getting to perspective 2?
Yo, I didn't even know that one. Heck yeah.
That's Twin. That's Twin.
Oh yeah.
He tends to bring those up.
Yeah, right
The
here you
things
can
we
see the
don't
keyboard
know.
shortcuts.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, shout out to the chat and the community for sharing information.
Thank
I
you.
want to also call out, I think I have a website somewhere here. Yeah, here we go. If you go to the dev community website and you go under sample project over here on the left hand side, you drop that down. We have a full documented and gift out breakdown of the step by step of setting this up for yourself. If anybody likes kind of that style of learning and implementing. And I'm going to totally kind of echo what Zoe said right earlier in the community chat, where it was like the coolest part about development is when we make something and then the community or the creators go and flip it and do something completely different and 10 times more amazing than we envisioned. And Charles, Chen, and myself were talking about like we really want to see what creators can do with the stronghold as a starting ground, right? Like what can you all modify this to become, whether it's changing the geometry to be something totally different, in air, underwater, or something like that. Changing the guard types, adding animals in here, really messing with the behaviors. Two more things I want to call out, and then I'll pass it over to Charles, who can get into the verse code, right? Because again, that's the glue of how the magic behind all this really happens. Is the audio devices. We use these to trigger a bunch of barks and dialogue feedback from the guards to do things that you can hook into from the events using event binding, from the devices using event binding. And so I don't know if I can play it. I gotta play it. I wanna.
I was gonna
I
say,
want them
it
to hear
seems
it.
like we have a couple people in chat saying servers might be back up. So why don't we just see if maybe we can pop in and get a quick little demo tutorial for folks? If not, let's get into the nitty gritty of Verse. But if it's possible, we'd love to see this in action.
All right,
That's
I'm gonna give it a
awesome.
shot.
Yay.
That
was all Van Dan too, believe it or not. Van Dan got the servers up
Van
for
Dan
us.
fixed the
Thank
servers.
you, Van
What?
Dan.
There's nothing he can't do.
Then nothing. Nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
When you're in the epic
Oh,
van,
nice.
boy,
Let's
let me
go.
tell you. All right, Van Dan, I might need to
Yay.
switch over to app mode to get the audio. If you give me a second. That guy's
So
fast,
exciting.
man. Jeez. All right, let me
Right?
see. Van Dan. All right, Charles and Chen, I promise I'm not going to eat more of your time.
That's okay, go. We
We're-
have plenty of time.
All right.
And I really,
we're
really
actually
want
running early.
to hear the box.
Great
All
fun.
right, let's see here.
Because we have recruited a wonderful voice actor for the barks. So I want to hear them
All right, am I
Yes.
on?
One of the best in the industry.
for sure.
Oh my
So I've
goodness.
heard. Iconic.
Jeez.
We definitely have more time, so we're running good, everybody. So plenty of time to go over this and the other stuff too. And then if you have any questions for these gentlemen, please put them in chat. The lovely Flack is gathering them for the end. If there's anything that's super relevant to what's happening at that moment, I'll try and grab it. But we're super excited to answer your questions after this.
Van Dan, you can switch over. Boom. Yeah. So right now, as you start the experience, we have a sequencer controlled camera to do a flyover. I love this type of stuff, right? You see it in all games when you enter a new mission or unlock a new environment. You get kind of a fly through of like, oh, look at all these areas that designers want you to go explore. We heavily encourage you to come check this out, right? And it helps kind of for you to plan out some strategy, right? I definitely like to Rambo it, just come in, run guns a blazing, but
Yeah,
Who
this was
doesn't?
is an edited version for the published island. Normally, you have a lot of billboards to explain what the device are doing when you play the
let me
template.
see here. All right, what do we got here? So we set up a intro explosion that the first showcase of using a leash to draw someone to a specific location and then tell them to go back to a point, right? So that was kind of like the first, like, look what you can do now. You can puppeteer your guards and wildlife. And let's see here.
The Moshmo John says, I wonder what they're guarding. This looks like serious business.
Totally. We joked about that actually. We actually don't really have anything on the inside of the stronghold, so there's a prime opportunity
No.
there. There's prime
We're gonna have to get like
opportunity
a
there.
golden helium
disintegrated.
or something.
Yeah.
So you just heard him detect me, which I call shenanigans on. I was hidden behind that tree, but
How dare he?
you can see all heck is breaking loose. We're able to turn on the state of the camp, toggle control of the lights, and I'm being detected. Oh gosh, yeah, this guy is smarter than I thought. He kind of came around the back.
What have you created, John? He's
Yeah,
too
you know
smart.
what? I'll call out that
What have you done?
we've tuned down their accuracy hardcore so that I don't look like a complete beginner. Oh my gosh. So we have objectives tied. You can see in the top left, we're keeping track of how many people are alive. All right, let's see if I can
Oh,
do the
John,
classic.
quick question. We're not
Yes.
getting game audio. Do you if we can't get it, that's not a big deal, but just wanted to flag it in case there was just like a little box we didn't tick or something.
Yeah, did I do this correctly? Am I running the app? Is no one hearing any of the sounds?
I don't hear it.
Van
No.
Dan, yeah. Van Dan says
see,
we
let's
can't
try
hear
this.
it, but if we can't figure it out, that's okay too, but just wanted to flag it in case we wanted to make sure it was on.
Yeah, let me see if I'll try this again. I'll do like go live and I'm sharing the game.
And while we're doing that, thank you all for attending today for our live stream going over Stronghold Template and all of our community celebration stuff. We hope you're having a really good day, and we're excited to answer your questions in a bit. How's everyone doing? How are things going today? Servers are back up, I heard, so sounds like we got it to work, so we've avoided that. That's that catastrophe's over. But how's everyone else doing? Create with Unreal. Yeah. This is so for this we are creating in UEFN, and we're showing off that template. And this template is only for UEFN, right, John? I do not
Yeah,
believe
it's for UFN. We have published an island in Fortnite.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. So
Are
you
you
can
guys
play
getting
it.
audio?
Not
No,
me, but I don't
no.
know.
No audio. Okay.
Okay. Well, if we can't get it to
Well,
work, that's okay.
That's a
But
shame. I think it's just homework for the viewers to go check it out for themselves.
yeah,
I
that's probably the best experience.
I do want to call out, I guess, non-audio related. Um, oh gosh, those snipers! I got to take them out. Yeah, they can see me. Going back to those sight lines things.
Oh,
Jeez.
John, one call out from Dan. If you might just want to end the screen share on Discord and then restart it, and that might fix it. He thinks that could be it. If you have a moment,
Okay,
but no pressure.
let's see.
We'll try one
Some
more
guards.
time. We do have plenty of time, so we're okay.
The old power cycle trick. Stop streaming.
Classic. John, actually, a great question that relates to what you just said came in the chat. Somebody's asking, the AI view looks like a 360. Can we change how much they see? I know that how far they can see we can change, but what about view angles?
Chen, you know about that?
No, we cannot change that at this moment, unfortunately. But this is something we are looking into, and it is going to be supported at one day. That's not supported currently.
Oh, that's right. Because like it's also their hearing radius, right? Their perception is
Right.
all like one thing.
Yeah, perception.
Mm-hmm.
We can hear
I
it
can hear the
now. Great
music
job,
now.
everybody.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Oh
That's some
man,
cool
so much more
info.
intense.
Yeah, the audio adds so much intensity. I immediately am like, my palms are sweaty now.
Look at this. I need a grenade. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh Lord. Oh no.
Hold on.
Not your knees. Don't let him take out your knees.
I need to take out this sniper badly. All right, but I think we're gonna get him off that tower by, oh snap, getting the count of the guards down, because then the
You
leash
got
is
a
gonna
disco
kick
bomb?
in. Oh yeah, we should give a disco bomb.
Just make him dance instead of kill you.
Sheesh.
Wow.
All right, here we go. So now, when 3 of them are alive, oh gosh, the remaining 3 of them are gonna activate a fall back behavior where they listen to a leash that's on the inside of the stronghold. I think at this point they can't see me, so the camp should chill out. There we go. Perfect timing. I planned that. And then it goes into like kind of this like moody music, and it's, we know you're around, but we can't see you, so be careful, right? Don't get caught. It's like that classic, vibe. And then finally, I'm just gonna go in there and put them out of their misery, complete the thing, win the game, and then I think you'll have seen kind of the whole experience. And then Charles and Chen are gonna show you the magic of how we put this all together.
Nice.
Oh,
Let's go!
Ooh. Man, that's on pad too, y'all. That's not even keyboard and mouse.
Come on now.
Come on. All right.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for showing that off, John.
Yeah. And again, this is just the foundation. We're going to keep adding and layering on as we work on new devices, new behaviors, new verse code. We're going to keep adding on to this exact project. And we are excited to, shout out in the community, in the dev forums, whenever we have something new. But I'm going to turn it over to Charles to show you how the verse works. All right. And big shout out to Charles and Chen, because without their help, this would have been a dramatically different encounter. Take it away,
Okay.
Charles.
Okay. So first, the goal of the Stronghold was really first to be fun. And when you see John just playing, you can see that it should be fun and educational. So that's why there's a lot of billboards everywhere to explain what everything is doing and why it is there. So, okay, can I see my screen? And then please. Yeah, I hope you can read it.
Do you have the editor up, Charles?
The editor, yes.
I forgot to mention about the camera markers. I think if you use the the numbers on the keyboard. We've saved key points in the map for
Yeah.
you to kind of easily fly through some of the key areas that have those billboards and show you where the spawners and devices are.
Yep.
Um,
You can see a lot of billboards everywhere in this map explaining.
Oh wow! And how are
This is a
you
damage.
jumping to them?
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, Charles. I didn't mean to cut you off. How are you jumping to them?
Just
I
with
was trying to see on the
the
screen.
keypad with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Cool.
The keypad just
Awesome.
numbers.
and there's a way to see that, right, in the menu somewhere.
Yeah, in the menu, if you click on the left top icon, right below the save icon, you will see that.
Oh, right below the
Yeah,
save
yeah.
icon.
Oh, they're called
check.
bookmarks, right?
Where is
Yeah,
that?
bookmarks. It's in the viewport.
Next to the
you know,
perspective. In the
Yeah, next to the perspective in the viewport.
yeah, right there.
Yes.
And then it's under bookmarks.
Okay.
It's on the bookmark, you see? That bookmark. You can save your own bookmark depending on your needs and then use a keyboard shortcut. Jump to
Nice.
Yeah,
I've learned
so
something.
set bookmarks, control number, and then go to the bookmark, the number. And, this is a small experience, but you can imagine on a much larger island how handy this is when you got a lot of people working in there instead of manually. When you're in creative and you got to fly your character all the way to the other side of the island. This is one of the cool things about working in a 3D editor where you get to teleport to cameras. Thanks, Charles.
That's awesome.
And
No
Chip.
problem.
Thanks for diving into that for us, guys. Sorry, Charles, you can go on. I didn't mean to
I'm
interrupt
learning
you.
something at the same time, so that's good. So yeah,
Nobody
you can see
knows it
billboards.
all, right? No one person knows.
You can see billboards everywhere. And we have a bunch of devices. So Jan is going to talk about devices, but we also have a bunch of verse script everywhere. So I'm going to talk about that now. So I've opened the solution with all the verse scripts. The first things that I'm going to mention is the billboard cinematic. So that's not the cinematic that you saw when John is playing. It's a slightly different one when you play, when you open the template. And when we start this cinematic, we are going to show all the devices that normally would be invisible in game. So they are exposed, you can add or remove them. We're adding music for the intro, we're adding a sequence, turning off the HUD with a HUD controller device, doing a bunch of things. We are also adding a skip button because we were playing that 20 times a day, and at some point we wanted just to skip the cinematic. But also it's nice to have that. So just a simple script to start, show all the devices, and when the cinematic is interrupted or completed, then we hide all the billboards, all the devices.
Oh, it's worth calling out the little player locking that we do as well, so that
Yes,
they can't move
true.
while there's a cinematic playing.
Yes, we hide the player and we put him. What is that? We put him in stasis, so he cannot move. He cannot move during the cinematic. Once the cinematic is done, we have this small event at the beginning. So we
You know
have,
why that happened? It was like, I remember when the cinematic was playing, I was still running into the camp and then getting spotted and shot at while the cinematic was playing. I was just like, what the heck? How do we save this from happening?
So after the cinematic, we have a small intro to explain what's going on and to showcase AI as well. So basically, we have a vehicle that is going to explode. There's a fire volume, there's a damage volume, an exploding device around this vehicle. So it's going to explode. And that's here in the code. That's what is doing the start damage vehicle. So enabling all those devices. And once it's done, a guard is going to investigate what's going on. So we wait for the guard to be spawned. And once he's spawned, first we want to interrupt this sequence if he's alerted. So if the player is coming next to the guard, the guard should stop investigating the vehicle. And also, if he's been eliminated, you want to abort that. And after that, we are just going to play the cinematic. And the first bit of AI that we have here, we are going to fetch the navigatable and the focus interface on the guard, so that will allow us to send some commands to the guard. So we play a bar saying, "Oh, go and investigate this target." Wait a little bit, and then we navigate. We navigate to the position of the device, and once we arrive there, so this is a coroutine, so it will wait for the navigator to complete. Once he's at this destination, he's just going to look around, and once he's done, he's just going to go back inside the stronghold. So if you open the digest now, we have a new module called AI, and we got those interfaces that I've mentioned before, the focus interface, the navigatable interface, and with those you can send some commands on a guard, on any agent indeed.
This is a great place to come to, right? Is the in any piece of verse code where you can go to the digest and look at the module and see all the methods and calls that you can make that, to just play around.
And obviously that's just the beginning for the AI module. We're just going to add more and more things in the upcoming weeks and months and years. So it's going to be
just one thing to resolve. That's the current AI model that only working for guard AIs. Charles is the guy who is helping us to expand its usage more and more AI creatures.
Yeah.
Big thanks.
Yeah.
Is wildlife next, hopefully?
Yeah, navigatable is not working yet for wildlife, but it will soon. Stay tuned. So the intro is done. We got the cinematic, we got the intro, and after that, we're going to go really inside the game. The way we did that is we have a game manager, which is monitoring all the guards that are spawned. This is the script that will ask for reinforcement, that will track the objective. Have we eliminated all the guards or not yet? So it's going to do a bunch of things, managing the end game messages and devices when you've been detected, undetected. So when you fail, to managing the player retries as well. So we are doing a lot of things in this script, and the way it works is we didn't want to have the same code duplicated in a bunch of scripts. So everything is done in the game manager, and it's broadcasting events that can be monitored by other scripts. I'm going to give an example. So it's quite a big script, so it's going to be tricky to read everything. It's checking the perceptions of all the guards, so checking when a guard has been eliminated. But we also have this perception, this alert level on each guard. When he sees a player first, he's going to be suspicious. Then when he has a question mark above his head, and when the question mark is fully read, it's going to switch to alerted. If you break the line of sight, it's going to go to target lost. And after a while, it will switch back to unaware. So we are monitoring that. Yes.
One question in the chat, Charles, and I know it came up in the last stream, is breaking down working with interfaces. And I think it was a Tasty Snack asks like, hey, is the interface ones that you need to implement? And could you step through that briefly, just to mention that, yeah, for manipulating the AI, you need to get a handle to the navigatable interface and some of the other ones. And it always looks the same typically.
Yeah. So basically, you use a Fort character to get the interface. You can get the Fort character from the agent, and then you will get the focus interface. It might or might not be implemented for this agent, but if it is, then you will get a focus interface. You don't have to implement it. We did this, and the implementation is going to be on our side different for a guard and for wildlife, but for users, it's going to be the same interface that you're going to use. We are
Like,
unifying
could you
that
show
under an
how
interface.
it looks like in our instance? Grabbing the
What do you
interface
mean?
just to see the if you could
In
show
the
in
script?
Can you look into the intro explosion script,
Yep.
because this is where that we are using it. We can
So
go
here
through.
I'm getting the navigatable and the focus interface here on the guard that is doing the investigation. And once I
Yep.
have the navigatable, I can do wait. The wait works, by the way, is the guard has a default behavior. So as soon as you're sending him an order like wait or navigate to, he's going to exit his default behavior and follow this order. And once he's done and he doesn't have an order anymore, he's going to go back to his default behavior. So we're asking him to wait and to navigate to a position. And once he's done, we're going to ask him to maintain focus and to look around. And once he has done that, he's going to go back to his default behavior. Was that clear? I don't have the chat personally, so John, let me know.
No, I think that's awesome, right? It's just showing like we just write the one line in the block to get it, and then once we have that interface, navigatable, then we can just call methods right on it.
Yep. And those interfaces, internally, we are working on more interfaces that will be available at some point. So in the game manager, so I'm subscribing to all these events. And when a guard is alerted, so I have to do that for each guard. By the way, this is an event that exists on the device, but for this demo, we decided to do everything in Verse, not to use the events from the device, but to use the events in Verse. And
That's right. That's a good point. Is with event binding, right? You can do this on the creative level, just tying devices to each other.
Yeah, but the good thing with when you do it in Verse is that you have more information. Like if a guard is alerted, you're going to know which guard was alerted and what was the source, so which agent has alerted the guard. So you can do that as well. Something that is harder to do with devices. So every time a guard is alerted, we are going to do something. That's here we are going to say that as soon as you are alerted, the reinforcement will be triggered, and we are going to send an event. Here we have this event that we are going to broadcast to every time when the reinforcement is triggered, and that means that other scripts can just subscribe to this event and start actions. So something like the alert manager. Here we are waiting for combat to start to just going to yeah, no, that's oh wait, just reading my script. Here, when combat is starting, we are waiting for the player detected event for example, to fire, or for the fallback event to fire. And when that's the case, we're just switching to the combat mode, turning on all the lights, starting the new music. So we are switching the ambience to combat when we're switching when this event is firing. So
this is a good example, right? Like you can totally
maybe not super
set up
clear. Sorry.
No, this is a good example where it's like you can totally take the spawner and bind it to the lights and say, hey, when threat detected, turn on the lights, play the music, stop the other music, right? But this way, we're able to kind of do it more specifically, right? To say, hey, the first time it happens, do it, and then don't do it again until they've all lost you, right? We got to loop through and check that no guard is currently seeing you before we set the camp back to normal.
Yeah. So things like the alert manager, the bark manager, it's not mandatory for the experience. You can disable those devices and the experience will still work. That means that they are just going to listen to events and add this mood, change the lights, change the music, or the bark. Here, I'm going to go back on the bark after that. But we're just playing some barks when a guard is alerted, or when you have lost a player, or all the guards have lost a player. So it's not mandatory to use it. You can just disable the device, barks won't play, but the overall experience will still work. That means that the game manager is computing everything. Yep.
Charles, for those who don't know, what is bark? What is the bark manager referring to specifically?
Okay, so the
Great
barks are
question. This
small.
is only developers talk this way. Yeah.
Yeah, I never
It's
know
voice.
if it's something that you are only using internally or not. So a bark is just a small line that will be said by guards. So we've lost
cool.
him. He's down.
Yeah. Like, I guess the real name is dialogue, right? Or voiceover.
Yeah,
Voiceover,
use that.
we usually call it voiceover. Yeah. To be
Cool.
specific on this, that the bug here is what we have heard in John's walkthrough, that when the AI spotted something, when the AI is falling track, we use a bug to identify what's happening in the world to help to add some immersion to the experience.
That's
Yeah,
super
so some
cool. Thanks so
examples
much.
are like when you take down a guard, it's like, we got a man down, or like when they spot you, like, enemy detected, and just giving you that feedback, right? Of like, oh, something happened, and I don't know what happened, but I need to go run for cover, or call my buddy.
They
Yes.
blow you up.
Yeah.
Yeet.
Yeah.
But by default, the only feedback that you have is a question mark above the head of the guard, and we're adding extra things to let you know when you've been detected. You can hear it as well. So we got that. We got the
Truth in the chat is like, why not meow? I think we could totally have recorded
Yeah.
some cat sounds for sure.
Yeah, why not? Yeah,
That'd be
yeah, it's
amazing.
possible. So, yeah, for that, make sure you understand this bug, they are not really natively on the NPCs. Like something we built from the audio device, which means that you can extend that usage in a lot of other places. For example, if you want to make some kind of commentary, someone out of this thing is telling the stories of what is happening in the world, you can also use that.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
the
great
audio
point.
basically.
That's a feature. We should definitely spend some time talking about that, because that is opening up so many narrative possibilities. Like, that is a game changer for so many folks in terms of how they're designing the flow of their maps.
Yeah, just leveraging UEFN, where you can import any audio, right, that you record or what have you, and you can play with the audio player device, and then how you play it and when you trigger it, that's all up to you.
Yeah. And basically, that's all the audio devices that are all containing the box. I don't have the audio here, but if you play it, if you open it, you will hear the audio. Basically, what we just did is we asked John to record all those barks, and we have added them to the game. So John was our voice actor for this demo.
I was tricked, by the way. I was tricked.
But he has such a beautiful voice.
Thank you, brother.
Is it gonna work through here, Charles? Should we be able to hear it, or how do we
No,
get to show it
because
off?
maybe if I need to share the application.
You can navigate to the asset. So if someone
Yeah,
has
Yeah, you can navigate to asset.
and you can double click on
If
those
you're looking
waves
into
and they'll
the
play.
folder in the
You
box,
can hear
there is
it, but you won't be able to hear it. I think.
Oh yeah, because we didn't set up the audio for this
It's just
one.
it's just a stream thing, but they're all there.
Well, I guess you're gonna have to do it, John.
They heard it. They heard it in the game. You guys heard it. We have a man down.
Yes.
There we go.
I'm so excited to see what all you creators get to do with this and the fun ways you incorporate it. Because my favorite is when there's voice acting or a special animation or unique objects that people are just uploading into the game itself. So so excited to see what they can do with this, and even making they don't always have to be as intense and how we were all like, oh god, what's gonna happen, or can he get away? They could take it however you want to take it. It'd be super fun and super hilarious. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, and for
Yes.
anyone that hasn't dove into UEFN, this is some of the quick out of the box power where you don't have to get too complicated. You can just open a map, import some audio, some textures, and just hook them up to play, right? And then do the rest of your work in creative as you're used to. And already you're adding a whole deeper level of interactivity and personalization, right? That kind of sets your creation apart from everyone else, right? You don't feel so alone when you got, some human voices or pets talking to you.
Heck yes. Thanks for walking us through that.
So going back in Verse, for the bark manager, I have this function to play a bark, and I need to abort it when the guard is down. When the agent is down, the guard is down. Sometimes we have a small delay. So when someone is hit, we don't want him to say, "Oh, I've been hit" immediately. So we can add a small delay. We can decide do we want a cooldown, so we won't hear the same bark during a few seconds. And can we hear it multiple times or just once? So we have all these settings that we can set. Some bark ID, it was mostly for debug, just to ensure in the logs that we can see. It's indeed super important when you're building a big expense like that to add logs, because if you have a bug, it's going to be way simpler to understand why something happened or did not happen. So adding logs everywhere. We had a small script just to simplify the logs. Just adding logs everywhere is really, really important. So we know here it was start, it was successful. It's simple to see that after that. So
This
we
is
got
a
all
lot
those.
of work went into this, and a big shout out to you, Charles, because as you add more variation and different lines and different trigger conditions, it can go really crazy really fast where you have everybody telling you all the thoughts every second, right? So a lot of this logic is set up so that they don't talk over each other, or there's priority of like, hey, if you took damage, that should take priority over like, hey, I think I saw something, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think there's a small bug in the stronghold, but it's not a big deal. I think someone can talk to himself at the end if there's only one guard standing, sorry. But if you want to fix it, go ahead. Small
That
exercise
seems
for
natural.
after. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he just doesn't know his friends are all dead. We've all been there,
Maybe.
I guess.
We're in our own world. Yeah.
I love that.
So we are here again. We are listening to events sent by the Stronghold manager, podcast by the Stronghold manager, and we are just going to play barks when needed. But it's really a side script that is just, it's not monitoring everything, just listening to events. So it's really, really event based.
Charles, I think
manager.
Meow makes stuff. That's a great question. And I know you covered it already, but it's worth checking it over one more time. Is how do we make our own custom subscribable events in Verse? I think we just kind of like instantiate the class. Yeah.
Yes, that's a very good question.
That's super powerful, by the way, right? Like that's one of the kind of like aha moments when we were doing this. Like, oh wow, from one script, we can handle all the different events, and then the other scripts are just listening for that event.
Yeah, so here I have two types of events. For example, the fallback event that doesn't have any parameter, and the guard suspicious event, which is going to broadcast which guard is suspicious. So I'm just declaring an event and what are the parameters of my event. And let's check suspicious event. Just going to signal with a guard that is becoming suspicious. So basically, when one guard exactly is suspicious, I'm going to broadcast the guard suspicious event. So when the second guard is suspicious, at begin. And in the bark manager, here, play guard suspicious bark. I'm calling await, so it's going to return the guard, and I'm playing the bark on my guard that was suspicious.
And I love
So
that because it's just like a set it and forget it kind of thing, right? To be like, hey,
Yeah.
throw this event out to anybody who's listening, and then catch it and do whatever you want off of it.
Sure.
So John,
There
if
could
you're
be
the voice
one or
actor for
multiple.
it,
There could be one
if
or
you're the
multiple
voice actor,
listeners for. No, it's okay.
sorry,
There could be
go
one or
ahead,
multiple
Charles.
listeners for the same event. That's where it works, or no listener at all. Basically, when you call Signal, you don't care about who's going to monitor this event. It's fire and forget.
Thanks for that, Charles. Shane, what you were trying to make a joke or something?
I
Yeah.
was just wondering. I was wondering what your bark was for suspicious things. Was it something is sus over there? I'm gonna go check it out.
Something is. I had to do my best, like, accessible thing in the hopes that legal would approve these right in time.
Right.
Yeah.
Of
But
course.
I think I would love to have an alt, developer edit version for sure. Something sus over there. You look
Let's
mad
go check it
sus.
out.
There it is. Yeah.
But see, everyone, see what you can do with these templates. You can make it your
Oh my
own.
gosh.
And
Yeah.
thank you all for walking us
Even
through
that,
it.
right?
I
Like
get it.
just replacing all the audio with your own recorded audio or what have you already. That's like clicks right there. Clicks and
We
No one's
can
gonna
make
replace
a
it. It's
French and
canon.
a Chinese version of the Stronghold if you want.
Oh yeah,
You want
see.
me?
So
Awesome,
localization,
Cool.
subtitles and localization. That's a thing that UE has that we I think is we got to figure out for sure.
Yeah.
If
And
we did want to do
for
audio
some
for it, we could.
barks, we have
Mhm.
variations. We have multiple variations of the same bark, and it's not handled in verse. It's handled directly in the audio. So there is a
Oh, good
Nice.
randomness.
call. We
Yeah.
because we totally did it through Verse, or you did, Charles. Let me
Yeah.
not
At the
take you shine.
beginning, I was. Yeah.
You set it up,
And
and then
you actually showed me how to do that.
this was crazy. Someone on our channel or an Epic employee put out audio UEFN tutorials, and I was watching them one day, and I was like, "Oh snap! I didn't know this about the way that
Aw.
the audio scripts, the audio blueprints work." And yeah, it's super easy. You have a random node here, and then you instead of hooking up the individual wave file to the audio player, you hook up the what asset
Yeah.
type is this? I don't know. Sound cue. You hook up the sound cue,
Thank you.
and it handles all your. And I think if you select that random node, Charles, there's like a box, right, that says like play all options before repeating or something like that somewhere. So that helps. Yeah, look at that guy, right? That last checkbox of goodness.
Yeah, there's a one node called render.
Raphael, love to see localization for sure. It's a thing on the roadmap.
Yes. We got. I think events are really powerful because you don't want to have only one big script, especially if you are. Yeah. It's nice
team.
to have one script doing one thing, and when you are collaborating on an experience, it's nice to have multiple files that you are going to have to resolve conflicts in your source control all the time. So it's nice to be able to do that. And it's also there's a difference between the core of the game experience, what you need to do, and all the add-ons in a way of the bugs and like that are not core mandatory but just plug and play.
Charles, I think we're giving them like decades of game development wisdom and experience right here, right? Because I know
Yes.
when I first got into this thing, and then John, you own this level, and I was a little junior scripter on my first game. I was like, it was one massive 3,000 line script, right? And I was like, all right, it works. And I was like, but you cannot debug this thing, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and also, if I notice we're versus a lot, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of questions in chat. But if creators do have questions, Charles, is it okay if they post it on the forums? Are you there to
Sure.
answer those questions as
Yeah,
they come up and things? Okay.
no problem at all.
Fantastic. Yeah, make sure if you're not there yet, everyone go to dev.epicgames. Make sure you're on EDC, and we have forums there where you can, if you have any qualifying questions about any of the content you see here, or if you run into anything, we were trying to make it happen, but you're not sure how, we'd love to help you out. And Flack is wonderful about catching those things and helping out the team as well. So we really appreciate her, and we really appreciate you all showing this off today and also being in the forums to help the community. Thanks so much, y'all.
Yeah.
Hearts,
And normally
hearts. Yeah,
there's a
we've all
lot,
been asked to be in the forums and on the regular and help people adopt this stuff. So it's part of our job.
and there's a lot of
We
comments
all
normally in
appreciate
the script to help you understand what's going on. So just you can try to read them. It's also a good thing that there are some are quite small, like the bark, and you can just read the comments and try to understand what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's the
But
best way is to instance the template, open the verse, and look at the comments. Right, we comment everything, explaining what it's meant to do.
That's awesome.
so, Chan, do you want now to talk about game design?
Yeah, sure. I can hand it over. So feel free to
Charles, that was
switch to
awesome,
my
man.
share
Thank you.
screen instead. Yeah, that's awesome. That's real.
And by the way, Verse like just went live, right? Like we're all learning Verse and writing it, right? And it's not something that has been seen before, right? It has its own particularities, right? So definitely let's get in on the forums and share the knowledge.
Charles, there's one thing that you didn't mention. I feel is quite useful. It's about the debug draw stuff. You want to talk about that?
Sorry, turn off my camera. Yeah, sorry, I should have mentioned that. I forgot to talk about the leash position, and it's indeed quite important. You can show it if you want. We have a script called Stronghold Leash Position. Totally forgot to mention it, and it's a kind of device indeed that we wrote in Verse, and the goal of this script and device is to ensure that the guards are staying inside the stronghold and they are not leaving it, and unless they are only allowed to use their patrol pass. So when they are patrolling, they can go out, but as soon as they're in combat or alerted, they're just going to back inside the stronghold to protect it. There are two radius on this device. One is the inner radius. That means that when they're going back, they have to go inside this radius, and they're considered as outside when they leave the outer radius. And it's
Wait, are we on the wrong screen? Are we on Chen's screen?
It's a right screen.
Yeah, can you show my screen?
It's on Charles' screen, so I think it's fine.
Oh, Charles'
okay,
screen,
my
yeah.
bad. Van
Screen
Dan,
is
Van
yours.
Dan.
Charles' screen.
Sorry, we made an ambiguous switch in the middle of
Yes, sorry.
our plan.
That's my bad. I forgot something. Thanks, Chan, for that.
Oh, no worries.
Yes.
We like to
Yay,
play
there we
tricks
go.
on Van Dan to see if he's paying
Yes.
attention, right?
He's clearly
So-
not all knowing.
It's like hot potato.
You have the
Catch
patrol
us if
pass
you
because
can.
you are allowed to exit if you are on a patrol pass, and you have those two radius. And we've added debug draw. It's something that has been added recently to UFN. But as an AI programmer and as most programmer, I'm a heavy user of debug draw. And it's super important for us to be able to visualize in UFN where are those devices and what the limit for those leash position. So a leash is really a position and a radius, and you have to be inside. So those
What's the
devices
library that has that? Is it simulation
no, it's
or
also
spatial
in
math?
no, what do you mean? Oh, the debug draw?
What's the include we gotta have?
I think it's in
Or what
I think
module? I'm
it's
sorry.
in-
What module is it?
let me check.
Logistics? Okay.
Logistics.
Logistics for the win. Or diagnostics or logistics?
Yeah, it's in Unreal Engine, the diagnostics.
Diagnostics.
Yes.
All
This one.
right.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's
And you
your
have a
best friend.
bunch. Yeah, you have a bunch of functions to draw shapes, and that's very useful. You can decide to show it for one frame, for a couple of seconds, forever. You have channels, you can show either channel. And to turn it on, I think Chan is going to show you after that how to turn on or turn off debug display.
Yeah, I will show you.
But at the sales
This was
and logs,
super
it's
helpful.
really, yeah, really helpful. Even
Yeah,
if you
this was
want
super
to see
helpful.
what's going on.
Yeah, and not just for like AI, right? Just for any verse code that you're writing where it's kind of invisible when you pass it a position or a vector and you think things are happening, right? Like, oh, get guard position. And I'm talking about that guard, right? But like sometimes it's not what you think, right? And so this kind of helps eliminate a lot of the probability of making a big mistake, right? Is kind of like drawing a big sphere around the position you think you're handling. So, and this came on late, right? Like we were working with leashes for months before we can visualize the position. So, this is a massive quality of life improvement.
And by the way, this
there is
will
one.
never be visible. Sorry, this will never be visible in a published island. As soon as you publish it, all the debug draw will be dismissed.
Oh, that's a great point. So you only see it in edit mode in creative or
Yeah.
creative, not in publish. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not in publish.
Mhm.
It's only in the edit station. All the
And
debug
do you need
manuals
to turn on?
we have done.
You need to turn it on as well.
Yeah, you can turn it on in code or through a menu.
Is it part of the experience settings or the island
It's
settings?
part of the island setting, and there is a dedicated category called debug that I can show on my screen later. Generally, we have a few debug options that can help do things like this, and we are also adding more debug options.
So once again, here you can see we have this interface, leashables that we are fetching on the fourth character and setting or clearing the leash position or clearing the leash position with the radius. That's it. So okay, we have a bunch of leash position in the map. Just trying to maybe to show them in the map. If you look at each sniper has a leash position, so he's staying here and he's not leaving his tower. We have a leash position.
Van Dam was on it. Yeah.
Is a
Yeah.
leash position just where like where they can walk to, like their
Yes.
limit before if they go to attack? Okay, cool.
Totally right. We just use the name thinking of our pets on leashes, right? Like you're only able to move this far. You're only able to move as far as the leash I give you, right?
Yeah, it's really like a pet. So that's it.
It's funny how all the AI stuff is like pet related, right? Like barks,
Right.
leashes.
They're our little dog. Very cute. Very cool. Sweet. Thanks so much, Charles. All right, Chen. Hopefully we're
great. Hannah,
oh,
can you
great.
switch to my share screen?
Perfect.
Okay, that's perfect. We will see that. So generally, as what John does and what John does and what Charles has shared, that we are building this template mostly as a playground, so we can test the features. We can play that for fun. But more important, we have for it is that we can showcase what kind of AI devices or the features that we are giving to you. So this is generally the thing that I want to tell you next, and I want to showcase from you. So for the current creative and UEFN, we have a few AI devices that can spawn the AIs, can spawn the features. And if you are looking at in the creative inventory or in the Fortnite device browser, you will be able to find a few more spawners. Like those are the spawners that we can see for the guard spawner or for the wildlife spawner. those are the things that we are using for the AI purpose, and they can be used with a lot of the other spawners as well. So, uh, generally, let's see. And Sebastian, that are you seeing my screen or not? Let's try
Yeah, we
to
see the
confirm that.
creative device menu.
Great, that's great. So go back to this device menu. If you are looking at the enemy category, you will be able to see different AI spawners we are building for creative and UEFN usage, like the creature spawner and creature placer built for the old civil war zombies. Wildlife spawner contain a lot of the wildlife creatures, and the god spawner, who is the main device actors we are using for the experience, and it's trying to with all the what's it, AI APIs, and then there is someone is was asking in the chat or chat to the community that say, do we have some other possibility that should change where the AIs can navigate through or not? This is one of the device called AI navigation modification device. It can create a zone that can use to block AI from navigating an area or not. If you are looking into some kind of forbidden zone for the AI, this would be the one that you can look into. And that's all the devices we're looking at. The other device that we release along with the template is the Apache Pass Node device. This is a device if you are looking at the map, and it's a device we are seeing in the world with this different line of the connections that tell the AIs how they can move from one point to another one. And this will be the device we can use to do some kind of special control that to see at how AI can be navigating from starting point A, B, C, D, and then until or doing kind of a back and forth navigation. And that's commonly used in this template, and we are using that to build, the patrol paths of the snipers, the patrol paths that the AIs that are navigating through the stronghold, and those patrol paths will be used when the AI are not in combat. So when we start the spawn AI, they will be able to follow up the path. But when they are in combat, they will ignore the path, just try to chase players. So that's part. But before that everything, that I want to show one important tool that we have given to you since season 24. It might not be widely used, but that's the tool that we are showing here, that to help you to debug some kind of navigation issues you might have in your experience. So when you are going into my island settings, or if you are looking into the island setting part in your UEFN viewport, there is a user option category called debug, and here is a debug menu that we enabled, including the worst debug draw and the navigation debug view. So I will turn it on so we can see that more clearly. So let me turn it on here. If I turn on the navigation and worst debug draw, we will be able to see things. Here, if see this this grid view is the NiMesh data we attracted, from server, and that's the navigation data that the AIs are using to navigate through the world. So navigation mesh might be something new to of your creators, but the navigation mesh is actually the surface that will the AI can navigate through, and they will more precisely. This is you know this is the actual word that AI recognize. They know that for example, in those green lines, they know this area they are all workable, so they can navigate from one point to another one. But if you are looking at some other different colors, like this orange one, they're considered as obstacles around in the world, so they cannot really move to the operation. In UEFN side, we have the power to get this navigation mesh data, but we also have the power that you can affect a mesh. You can create your own assets with different navmesh setting. You can also turn off the navmesh on certain object. So I can give you a very quick example on that. So coming to here, if you are looking at the rocks here, you might find the rocks itself is not impacting that mesh as the others, because the other mesh, if you are looking at here, they have some obstacle color like this orange one. But in UEFN, if we are looking at this asset, let me go to this report, click on that, and go into the static mesh component and find an option called of can ever affect navigation. That would be the flag that if you don't want this object to affect navmesh, you don't want the navmesh to be dirty, you do that. Just uncheck it. So for some cases, that if you are building a very complicated, floors with different pieces and not working, making the navmesh working right, you can try this, and then the AI should be able to directly navigate through, than being blocked by it. And that's the power of UEFN is providing, because we don't have the same capacity in creative to do so. And in UEFN side, you can also create your custom assets to bring the navmesh data associated to it. And if you want to choose different navigation mesh, you will also be able to be provided from different assets like the props or the words from it. So that's the navigation data. And commonly that the navmesh data is replicated from the server side, so they are not they are not shown in the report, because they are not something that we baked in the map. But this navmesh data coming from the server side cannot render everything in a world, cannot render something that's from a very long distance. So if you're trying to do that, differently, if you are trying to see something, can be navigatable, there is also another tool, just on, just on this patrol pass node can help you to do it. So in the patrol pass node, user options that we can choose the path in play mode or pass in the editor mode, and this pass, those lines are the paths that the AIs they can really go through. So if you are seeing this line is connected and there is no error marks on this line, and then is something that you can rely on for this particular, so AI will be able to navigate through it. This tools that is also working in creative. So if you are making the AI works in creative, this is something that you can try and move forward. So that's general pieces to say that how we work with the devices and how we work with the debug tool relevant to the navigation. So talking about the device and debug view, and let me go through a few setups that we are getting on this device level, and to make that feel good and make it very useful. So if you are looking at the guard spawner, that we have a lot of user options that you can change the guard types, spawn count, spawn through words, etc. And you can also change the patrol path settings, right? Which is called spawn patrol path group, and that would be able to give you an option that when the AI is spawned, they will follow this path, this patrol path group through, with this index from the start to the end, and following up different patterns, and which would be the pattern defined from here, like called patrolling mode. We have three different patterns back and forth. So they will start from starting point to end point and directly go back. And then we have looping, we have stop and end. That's something that we have to build for it. And on the device side, we have a lot of the polishing work getting to it. So on the AI side, a few things that can change AI to behave very different from each other are coming from user options like here. That's the first important thing is the weapon list that we have defined for it. For example, if you are looking at the guard spawner on the sniper tower that we are giving it a real gun, and which is actually a sniper rifle type weapon, and with the lasers that you can see the AI spot at you clearly. You can also change that to different weapons and like the shotgun, assault rifle that which is supported by the guard types, and with this options that you can also customize the enemies visibility range to set how far they can detect you from each other, and you can also set this one to say that accuracy. This accuracy setting would give the users about how powerful they are and how accurate they are to shoot at to aim players and shoot at players. So usually that's when we define this snipers that we will give snipers a very high accuracy, and if we want to make the AIs for the close range or mid range combat, we will use something different. For example, that one thing that I can quickly iterate in the world is that I want to mix all the reinforcement to be working with a shotgun. I want the reinforcement coming do some close range combat. In this case, I will add a item list in this item list field and generate. I will, for example, I will give you a combat shotgun to it, assign to this item, and it will be able to assign to the reinforcement. And then, since this combat shotgun is mostly powerful in short range, and I don't want my player is eliminated easily when doing some close encounter. So I would change the accuracy to low instead of very high for this purpose. So with all the user options we have as a gut spawner, this will help you, to build different, gut preference to make you feel, the AI themselves is behaving differently compared to each other, and that's one of the key pieces that we bring to the devices. So with all this initial setup, and when we start playing the game, we will feel since I get it differently, and since AIs are moving differently, I can show a very quick change I made to this template, and I can go through with you how we can easily extend this template with some simple devices trick or something that's manual tricks you want to have for it. And I hope that as a creator that you can feel free to bring it back to your own works or your own island to make something much better than what I presented here. So let me go back to the game and let me start it. So when I change this prototype, I want to do something simple and easy. I want to make the game, make the AIs using different weapon that I share with you. I want to make my player to use different weapons as well for the startup, because now we are all using the default item granter for the purpose. I want that I want to let the game end in a different way. And all this is very possible and can be done in a very simple way to do this. For example, that here that I'm using a device called class select UI, and this device is come with a few other devices that can generate a few different weapons that the player can equip on default and get it to work. And with this device for it, I can enable that, and we can easily get this. The player start with different inventory item, and then I'm trying to get another thing that I call it as a wave defense scenario, which means when we get into a game that I don't want the game end just because I kill all the guards in this stronghold. I want the game to end in a different way. So if you are detected by the enemies in the world, and we will trigger reinforcement, and you have to survive in the reinforcement to accomplish this goal. And that's something that can be easily done by extending the current stronghold game manager, and I will show what it looks like, and then we can go through that simply for it. So let me start the game, and I can probably turn off the debug view. So yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, let's see. Something's not updating. Okay, so that's the current game we have now, and let me trigger the combat. Let's see how it works. Okay, so now I trigger combat. So the objective here is no longer the previous objective we have for the eliminate all the enemies, and instead that we are triggering the enemy reinforcement coming in 30 seconds. And after 30 seconds, we have more and more reinforcement arriving in the stronghold, and you have to survive to successfully secure the base. And in this case, you will be able to see that in the next 2 minutes, there are more and more enemies coming into the stronghold base. You will be able to see the red dot on my minimap, and those are the enemy reinforcement coming to the stronghold and trying to attack me, trying to get us back, and they they are getting to me with this shotgun enemies coming. Right? Oh, I'm back. And then we have this class selector menu. I mentioned that when you start game or when you restart it, and you can select item you're trying to do it. So here that you have to survive from the reinforcement, and you need to kill as much as possible, and generally that you can still do the stealth gameplay if you prefer, and you will still be able to eliminate as much enemy as possible, and they're all done by the current stronghold manuscript. So you have to survive here and capture the area, right? And now we have a few seconds left, 15 seconds left. You have to make sure you are alive in this case, and the enemies they will keep coming, and even you eliminate them, they will just try to spawn more and more if possible. So you have to be very careful. Okay. Yeah, comment.
Oh, sorry, John, you're on mute. Dan, Dan. Can we unmute John?
Okay,
think you might be
last
good,
5
right?
seconds. 2, 1.
Testing.
Go.
You're there. Sorry about
Okay,
that,
I'm
John.
in.
We heard your
Okay.
keyboard typing,
That's
so
it.
we muted
So,
you.
yeah.
Oh, my bad. My
So,
mechanical keyboard. Yeah, I just want to
so
say,
here,
like, yeah, with
that's
some
your
small tweaks, like we completely changed the rules of the game and made a different game type.
So
Yeah, it's super
with that,
exciting.
this is a very simple and quick cases that you can use for your own usage. I will go through that very quickly to you on this setup. Let's first come into the startup inventory. We have a few different ways to build your own custom startup inventory. And like you can use a pop-up dialog device with item granter. You can use your own words logic transfer it. For me, that I would prefer to use this class select UI, because the power part for it that we can visualize what it will be shown on the item screen, right? And so with that, you have this class select UI here, and you enable this device, and you set it as shown as classes, and then we can give the players to different classes with different starting up inventory with this class designer. For example, I give the class designer with 3 different preferences. One I called as assaulter, and just use the assault rifle and combat pistol for kind of the mid-range combat. And you can define the item list here, with what kind of weapon you want to give for the player. And then I give the players another set of the weapons like this one is for the sniping gameplay or long range and stealth gameplay. For that, I will give them suppress sniper rifle, hand cannon, and bandage. The third one is what I call as CQB is close range combat preference, and so in this case, I'm giving the players auto shotgun on tactical pistol, so they are all not long range weapon, and they can pick up fine. With all this setup, by default, that when we start the game, that you will be able to select the loadout to use, and you will also be able to enable the usage for the device to make the game balance different, because the loadout you have for the player and the loadout you have for the guard spawner, they can heavily impact about how the game balance will be. So that's the first part I have tried here. And in the second part that I'm showing you about some kind of wave defense triggering, and that's something that we can easily do by extending the current game manager on the website and with the devices we are building for it. So here that I will show you quickly how I do it, and I'm adding a logic variable called should trigger wave defense for it. So by default, it's turned as false. So if I don't take this on, it will be working exactly the same way as current stronghold. But then when I have this, variable set to true, I will start to use the next few logic that to set what's I will show you the reinforcement timer about the 30-second countdown, and I will also be able to show you a survival timer that which for now is that it's 2 minutes and you have to survive and defense in 2 minutes, as well as all the objective tracker and with defense game end, cassette, etc. And on the script side, it's quite simple that when we want to extend the usage of the stronghold script, let me zoom in a bit, go to the game manager part, that you can easily add any of the variables here that can be editable, that can be easily tweaked on the screen. So for example, here that I'm adding a section here, a virtual section for the script block. That's the thing that all this logic here is relevant to the wave defense trigger. And if I turn this wave defense logic to true, then I will execute relevant logic to it. I will use the timer to show the reinforcement is coming. I will use the survival timer is showing at how much time you need to survive. And I'm also using object tracker, which is showing a new object to tell you, okay, you need to survive here for it. And then I will call the wave defense game end if you do that successfully. So in this case, that I implement this should trigger wave defense, and then the core logic we have here is that if I let me go through that quickly. So jump to the code. So here that when the guard is alerted, I will run into a different logic chunk about what we want to get for the reinforcement. I will remove the original object tracker and then replace with a new survival object tracker instead. Then I will spawn a reinforcement timer. The timer with a 30 seconds tagged on. After that, I will spawn a new script chunk called start reinforcement on timer end, and that's a simple chunk I added here that I will wait for the success event is finished. So when the timer is ended, I will start another timer to set how much time you need to survive here, and then I will use another set of the wave defense spawners, and with that spawners, we will spawn infinite AIs to work, but keeps the game in a good balance with just for example, we keep the AI keep spawning, but they won't exceed a certain limit that you can balance. So for now, that I will show you a different way about configure the spawners for it. So here, that if you are looking at this spawners I'm trying to add here, that I make a new variable that called as tagged with different spawners, because in this case that I want to show you a different workflow compared to what we have now in the game manager. If you are looking at the current setup about these initial spawners, reinforcement spawners, or additional reinforcement spawner, we can use another way to curate all the spawners for the new setup, which we use actually as something called as verse tag. So for it, let me go back to the restart for it. I defined a tag for the wave defense spawner here, which is called wave defense spawner tag. And once I created that, I compile the script, I will be able to inject a new tag to my AI spawners. So let me go back to this AI spawner view. So I create a few new spawner for it, so it can be different from the others we have. And in this case, I create a few spawner dedicated for the wave defense experience. Like I want to make the AI working as the assault one. I use a Groot skin. I use the spawn count 2, so this spawner can spawn 2 maximum AIs alive in the world. But I also enable the allow infinite spawn for it. So if the AI is killed, the wave reinforcement will still be able to keep moving and keep spawning for it. So that's why I can make an infinite spawned wave and only kill it until the game is, until the wave defense or game is ended. So for that, we can see that we have this, wave spawners here and in several other places, but we didn't add anything directly reference to the game manager script for it. This thing I query for all the spawners is something that I get to is, and then I add a new component type for it, which is called was markup component, and then I use a tag to add something to make sure that it can be queried in the so it can be queried in the current logic we are using to spawn everything from it. So it's not something here. So generally, this is something quite simple. That for now, we in this spawner that it doesn't have that was tag. So if I want make a was tag added to the spawner, I simply add here, click on the add component view, and then type was. There is a component called was tag mark component. Get into it, and then you will be able to see this gameplay tags view. Go into it on that, and you will be able to see the tags I did for this experience, and the tags that can be used to clarify it. So if you are looking at all the spawners I did for this reinforcement, they are all sharing the same tag. So with all the tag, I don't need to create any direct reference to what to the current setup we have for this wave defense. So let me go back to the script. Instead, we are using this simple logic to get the wave defense spawners with this function called get creative object with tags, and this will get all the objects that we have in the world with this tag that we have for the wave defense spawner tag, and for each wave spawner tag that we will need to get show once that when we are getting that for this creative object, they are not specific to God spawner, so we need to get to this with different spawner and iterate through the list of it, and then we can set explicitly set that okay, they are the God spawner type, and you are using the God spawner to enable it to do so, and then we are using the next logic to run through the game, end of the game, to finish the wave defense. With that, you can easily balance the wave defense with the device settings. For example, that you can balance the difficulty about how many AIs you want to have in the with the spawn count, how many things you want to have at the maximum. You can also balance the duration easily. Like here that I implemented the timer device for the reinforcement. So the reinforcement they are coming in 30 seconds, and I want you to survive from them in 2 minutes. They are all something that very easy to be customizable on the devices menu we have. So those are the simple tricks I add for the current Stronghold template. It's not directly working on the template project itself, but I created from the template and I made my own version from it. And I hope that this can be simple and straightforward inspiration to you, so that you can see that how you can extend the user for that. For example, you can eventually make the game end scenario like we have an MVP target in this stronghold, and you have when you are in combat, the MVP target will be flee away to another location, which is using the leash setup. You can set a leash distance to it, and then you have to capture. You have to defend, eliminate the enemy before he arrives his safe house. Those are all the possibility we can have for the stronghold, and I hope that with all these AI modules, with all the devices, that we can help you to build something larger and better from what we have before. And that's a major thing that I want to cover here. And once I clean up this project, I will also share it to the forum, so that if you are willing to look into how I set this up, and that can be a reference you can look into. Okay, that's
Thanks so much, Shen. That's awesome.
okay. Thank you.
The forum call out, what a
So
great call out. So yeah, if you do have anything, any cues for this team about Stronghold, any feedback or anything you just want to show them, hey, look what I've created, definitely utilize EDC. It's oh gosh, let me just double check, dev.epicgames.com/community, and pop in there, let them know what's going on or ask any questions you have. They would love to help you. And yeah, thank you so much, y'all, for presenting. There was one other call out I wanted to make before we dive into cues, because we've got a lot. John, we wanted to talk about that awesome video that the creator made on all
Yes. Is
about
it
the
Windbush?
Stronghold.
Yeah.
Windbush, that's right.
yeah,
I lost my little tab.
Yeah. I stumbled upon this video. I think he posted it in the forums, and that's how we stumbled upon it. And thought it was a great little walkthrough of the documentation, how to set up the stronghold for yourself in UEFN. And he mentioned he
Yes.
would be here. I don't know if he's in the chat or he left already, but thanks for setting that up.
Yeah, thanks so much, Winbush. And I will drop the link in chat too when I grab it real quick. But I'm just struggling with the balance of not opening a tab that's gonna make us go into repeat heck again. So let me see. But with that, Winbush, where did you go? I don't know
think
if it just
Flack
disappeared.
posted it
I'll
in
find
the
it when I
chat.
find it. Did you, Flack? Oh, thanks so much.
In
It
the
was on
Twitch
here, now it's
chat.
gone.
Oh, and the YouTube chat.
oh yeah,
Thank you,
You are
Flack.
so amazing. Shout out to Flax. She's so on top of it. So appreciate you holding it down in chat today.
We really appreciate it. And with that, we've got a bunch of cues. We'll see how many we can get through. We've answered a few already, but we're a bit over time for the stream, so try out and pick some juicy ones in here. Let's see. What are the pros and cons of enabling streaming mode in the editor when you were showing us? Is there anything in particular there? Or maybe it wasn't. I'm going through ones that were really old, so it might
Yeah.
we might not be able to connect it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this regarding like world partition and streaming your world in, or is that something different?
That was from Truth. So if you want to clarify, Truth says yes.
I don't think I've worked in a map large enough to warrant turning on world partition, but it's totally that, right? It's depending on the size of your island and managing the memory and the amount of time it takes to load in, where you would want to turn on streaming to help ease that, depending on the density of your world. And I haven't really seen an island really push the envelope for that myself personally, but and so no, it doesn't make it faster to push changes, unfortunately.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true. For the streaming, that's right. Okay. So
okay.
for the streaming part, that we didn't use that, in the stronghold because the map size is not big enough for it. But if you want to push it for open world experience, for example, if you want to make an open world challenge with multiple stronghold base in the world, and you need to accomplish that, and usually that's where you want to make for the stronghold because we don't want the, world itself is too dense with a lot of different locations in the world. We want to keep its memory and performance in a good bit. So that's where that we enable streaming and make sure that the word partition is handling that, clearly for you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the further context, Shen. How long did it take you to create the Stronghold templates? They're curious, and how many people worked on it?
Yeah, when did we
Oof.
start this thing, guys? Was it
It was
October,
snowy in
November?
Montreal, so I would say 4 months ago,
Uh,
6 months ago.
January?
uh, January is actually the time that we didn't really start working on that directly. It's the time we are looking into conception part for it. We
Okay,
have a few ideas
conceptualizing.
about, yeah, what
It
kind of
became a
experience we
doc, right? It
want
was a
to.
Google Doc.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So
So yeah, what,
coming back to
6, 7
the
months?
time, so 6 months would be the time that we start from conception and finish everything, including the dependency on the Verse APIs, including the dependency on getting all the devices, all the events supported for UEFN usage. But the actual time we spent in this template is actually less than 2 months on the content and the implement side. Yeah. So for that we don't have a really big team. Like, on the design side, we have John, me, we have Gail Ledger, who is another tech designer from Montreal side. I want to give him a really big credit because he's a guy who made the layout and the initial for everything for it. But on our experience for that, the core experience is actually done in your earphone very smoothly. That we have made the whole game manager, the whole device workflow, and the whole core experience. I think roughly at in around 1 week or two, and then we can play that. We don't have everything for it because we are still developing new APIs for it. But the content and the level setup is something that we are doing quite fast.
That's
It's
true.
not a
That's a
real
great point.
big part.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think it took a handful of us a week to stand up like the rough bones of it, right? Like using Fortnite assets, the rough rule set, as just kind of like, hey, get in, eliminate these people, and then you're done. And then that's when like the iteration and the layers, and then the
Yeah,
awesome heavy iron art team came in and they made this thing look exceptional. We got more engineering support on there, right? As we started kind of like thinking up crazy things to do that we couldn't do before. That's when Charles and some more of the AI engineers jumped in to kind of expose this and really get into the verse capabilities.
Cool. We are gonna do some rapid fire questions to see if we can get through a few because we have so many. If your question isn't answered, definitely go to our forums and ask them there. They would love to help answer those and solve any questions you have. And also, if any ideas you have, if you're unsure if you can do it or not, feel free to ask in there. Quick question: can we switch guards to any Fortnite outfit? I want Peely as a guard, or is it already possible?
uh,
I
Not
think
yet.
there's
unfortunately, you know, there is some conversation we have internally to see at how we can get more cosmetic choices added to the gas bundle or to the calculator device we have now. Uh, this is something that we're planning to support in future, but it's not something that we can do that today or shortly in your upcoming release. But we have the tech behind it, support it. So this is something that I hope that we can deliver to the users as soon as possible.
We're working on
Thanks
it,
so much.
and I'd love to plug that Chen and I are doing a AI talk at Unreal Fest in New Orleans in October. That we hope to have some of this future facing tech available.
Yeah, that's a
Sweet.
great shout
Awesome.
out. That'll be an awesome opportunity to learn more about it.
One last one that I think there's so many, but this one would be helpful to a lot of people here. I think how much memory usage is happening with Stronghold? People are worried if they're using a larger island, if they wouldn't be able to do this at every POI.
Oh,
I
that's
think
actually.
when you look at Stronghold, when you look at the project size, it's super lightweight. It's kind of small. Like it's easy to load in and load out. And even when you look at the wave files becoming sound cues, right? We're just reusing all stuff that's already in Fortnite memory. So there's nothing really bespoke eating a bunch of memory, from what I can tell, right? From my designer purview. Um, Chen or Charles, do you see anything else that would take a ton of memory? Right? Like,
Uh,
I think you can really go ham with the verse scripts and barks and stuff like that, and not make a dent on the memory.
Yeah, the memory usage in Stronghold is generally very healthy. It's used much less than other experience I've been able to do. One of the things for it that is eating a lot of memory is not on the content or on the you know on the bugs that we are adding for Stronghold. It's actually coming from the God spawner itself, because the gas spawner is eating a lot of memory since it's the underlying tech about how it's streaming the character data for its usage. This is something we are looking to improve the profiling approach for it. But on the Stronghold setup itself, we're scripting bugs, the custom audios, this environment, they are very cheap compared to other scenario, and you should be able to populate that much larger world with, for example, tons of them easily.
Awesome. How exciting. Cool. Well, thank you so much for the info, gentlemen. And thank you so much for coming on and presenting all this wonderful stuff in depth for us. There's so much more to go through. So meet us all on the forums. If you have any questions again, love to help out there. And if you are creating anything fun with the Stronghold template, please do let us know. Put it on the forums. Put it on Twitter, talk about it, tag me if you'd like. I'd love to show them. That's the reason we do what we do, I believe, is we deep down we're all just so excited to see what you're going to make of the things that we create over here at Epic. So this what makes our job so fun, and we're really appreciative of everyone being so excited about it and asking so many great questions. So thank you
I
so
want to see
much,
those
John,
localized
Charles, and
versions.
Chen. Yeah.
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 I
You know
want to see
what?
those
Me
Yeah,
like
those
too.
guys were.
Me too. Sweet. All right. Well, with that, I just want to give a couple updates for the community on what's coming up. Van Dan, if you could share my screen for me. If I'm still sharing, hopefully nothing went wrong there. It's been a hot minute. Sweet. Yes, clutch. So tomorrow we actually have our Ask Epic Anything all about devices. So that's for creative UFN. So if you've got a question, definitely follow the link fn.ggaea. And yeah, we're going to be answering all questions there tomorrow. That's at 11 a.m. ET, 8 a.m. PT. There's already a lot of great questions there, but make sure and get yours in before it happens. And thank you to all who have asked questions so far. The team's really excited to jump in. And for an overview of it, here's what the form will look like. And then just simply go in and reply to the post. Yeah, and then your answers will be quoted, and then the answers will be posted in here as well. So it should be pretty simple. And if you're not there for the actual live event, just make sure you get your questions in early so they can be considered for answering. And then on August 1st, which is next week, it will be myself and the wonderful directing Pete, where we're going to be talking about his experience. And he loves, loves, loves talking all about storytelling. He's a film and creation buff himself on all of those aspects. And then also absolutely has done some amazing things here at the community. So he's super excited to give any advice and thoughts he has all around storytelling. And then, of course, video tutorializing, because he is the king, one of the kings of that we have on YouTube, making awesome content for people who are new to the space and looking to learn, and people who are just curious about new features. So if you have any questions for Directing Pete about any of those things or anything else, check him out on YouTube. You can also submit your questions within our Discord and forums and so on and so forth. So we'll be excited to answer them there. And I guess that's it for me. Thanks, Van Dan, for the lovely screen share. And thank you all for coming. Zoe, was there anything else we wanted to talk about?
No, I think you covered everything. Of course, thank you to the dev team. Thank you to the people that attended. Thank you to Van Dan. Thank you to Flack holding it down in chat. And Shane, our lovely and fearless leader who puts so much work into these streams. Thank you so much for pulling us together and giving us a chance to connect with the community on this. It's so nice to see y'all engaged in this way and hear what you're working on and hear what's most important to you as we talk about these features. So the only other thing I'll say is if you're feeling that inspiration right now, if you're moved by the spirit of creativity, keep the good vibes going, hop in Discord, communicate with each other, dig deeper into this and explore together. Because like I said at the top of the stream, your greatest resource are the people around you. These devs are amazing, but actually going in, getting your hands on the tool and learning together, it can be equally as impactful. So just take the time, enjoy it. And then, as you go through it, like Shane said, hit us up with questions. We'll make ourselves available and find the right people to answer them. But yeah, thank you all for the time and for sharing. Like, I'm like, I'm going to build this map. Like, I'm about to go in and do this myself because this was just like so captivating and so interesting. And it's just so powerful to see the potential. So thank you for sharing your expertise and your time with us today.
No problem.
Yes, thank you so much. Thanks, Charles. Thanks, John. Thanks, Shane. And thank you so much, everybody who came in to view and check it out and say hi. And we'll catch you next time on our live stream. We'll keep you posted on Twitter with what's to come and on Discord. So we'll see you in the community. Thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Have fun creating. Bye.
Bye, y'all.